Okay, let's get going on this one here. I wrote out a lot of the work for you, and so that way I can devote my time to explaining the math that I did. Number one, and we'll focus very carefully on number one, I'm dividing this into this, and because I just did a video, by the way, it's 6-3 video 117, and I'm doing assignment number 44. Sorry about that. I'm dividing this into this. I could divide this into this and get the vice versa answers. And instead of doing all the math that I just did before, I just wrote out the FOIL. And then I got this here. And I'm going to pause here because this that I circled turns out to be really important, where I'm breaking up the middle terms. Notice that this is the same as this. That's going to be coming up shortly. Okay, I broke up the middle terms and turned it into 4 instead of 3. And we'll have our reasons for doing that. And why, I'll talk about that as we go along. Okay, but anyway, you can check that this answer is correct. Hopefully you know how to do these problems now. I'll give you one more maybe in the video before, and you could work it out with long division or check it with the FOIL. And I point out again that if I divided 3x plus 7 into this, I get 2x minus 5, just like you would with regular numbers. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I'm going to leave it just like this and proceed to the next problem, where there's the answer. And for number 3, I'll put in parentheses the answer as well. And what I'll do is have it worked out. And here's number 2, by the way, and have it worked out and let you guys see that it works. By the way, the check here would be this times this, which you know how to do. It's just multiplying a binomial times a trinomial. And why is it different this time? Well, this guy here is 4 terms. It's a cubic polynomial with 4 terms. So there's a little bit of extra work. So instead of 2 steps, it turns out to be 3. But the idea always has to be the same if we're doing the polynomial math that the Regents requires us to do. The remainder has to be 0. So let's work this problem out. I chose x squared here because x squared times 3x equals 3x squared. I could have divided this by this and gotten the same thing. Then I multiplied x squared times minus x, okay, and got minus x here. And as you see, I took the opposite terms here, and I got negative 12x, okay? So that was the subtracting that I had to do. I was adding and subtracting, okay? And so then that became a plus, as you see here, and then it's negative 12x squared. I bring down the 13x. So let's pause there just for a second. Just like you divide one number into a much bigger number, like 12 into 288, you'd get a much larger bit of work to figure out what you're dividing. So it happens in the same way with polynomial math. So now, when I match minus 12x squared, which negative 4x times 3x does, and I take the opposite, then I go here, here, and I get a positive 4, which I'm going to take the opposite of, because this times this is positive. So there's the negative, there's the positive, and must happen here as well as here, that this must go away. Otherwise, I know I'm in trouble. Something's not cooking properly. So this goes away. There's the negative 4 that gives me 9x. Bring down the negative 3. Don't forget about that guy. He didn't go away. After all, it was a polynomial 4 degrees. Now match one more time. There we go. There's the positive 3 that matches the 9x. And there's the negative 3 that 3 times negative 1 is. And I took the opposites below over there, and there I came out with a remainder of 0. And that means this times this equals this. We won't do that now, but you should be aware of that. And you should be willing to check it to make sure that you know how to do this kind of math. After all, you're going into high school. So now I go on to the last one here, actually the last one on this board. This one I'm going to do by hand again. And so you can see me do it without the answer there. In fact, let me erase this part right here before I do number 3. Okay. So now we go over here, and again we follow my reasoning. Okay. This divided by this is 2x squared. There's the opposite. There's 2x times 3, and there's the opposite. There's the 0 I desire. And now we have negative 14, negative 6, negative 20. I've said it again and again. Gotta watch your signs. It's easy to make a mistake. Okay? And then I bring down the x, and I go on to the next part here. I match this times this. I took the opposites. And x plus 15x equals 16x. Brought the 12 all the way down, and 4x goes into 16x 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. Everything's matched there. You see the opposites I took, and you get a remainder of 0. Should be able to do this math. I'll give you some more practice, okay? All right? And now I'll do number 4 by hand, because that might work, and sometimes it's better to have everything written out. Sometimes not. So here we go with this last one here. And I'm just going to do this. It's the same problem as number 2 and number 3. And let's see how it goes with us. 3x goes into 12x squared, 4x times. Check yourself. If you don't believe me, just check yourself. Squared times. See, by checking yourself, you make sure you don't make a careless mistake. And now x squared times minus 5x is minus 5x squared. Okay? Minus 20x squared. In other words, this times this is this, and this times this is that. So now we take the opposites, and we get negative 3x squared plus 17x. And we pause for a second. Now we go here to here. What number works? What number works? Minus x. Go over that again. Minus 3x squared divided by 3x obviously equals negative 1 times x, which is negative x. Let's see if it works. So we got this, and we match it. Need to do that. We talked about that. And a negative times a negative is a positive. There's your 5x. And now we take our opposites, and I get 12x squared. Whoops. Can't forget this dude over here, right? Minus 20. So 3 goes into 12 4 times. 4 times 5 is negative 20. You can do it yourself now. And like I said, if this stuff works, then you'll get a remainder of 0. And one more time, coprime numbers. So this times this equals that. And that basically does it for assignment number 44. I will give you some more, sort of mix them in a little, and I'll have 2 challenge problems, sort of challenge problems. Okay.